What's up, ladies and gentlemen? So, let's continue on. Let's continue on with 10th Lord through house series. And today we are going to be covering 10th Lord in the 6th house. And what happens when the planet that controls your 10th house is sitting in the 6th house. And obviously, if you do not know where your planetary lords are and where your 10th Lord is placed, for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my other options. So, 10th house. I have already made a video. It's an 8-minute long video on what 10th house is and all the details of it, which is in the description below. So you can watch that and come back to this video. But in short, 10th house is your father, relationship with the father, government, your reputation out in society, your co-workers, your work environment, how your work environment is. It's not career, it's work environment. And so what happens when that planet goes into the 6th house? Well, what is the 6th house? 6th house represents your everyday daily routine. 6th house represents diseases, deaths, like money debts, obstacles, enemies, okay, small animals, non-profit organizations. So when 10th Lord goes into the 6th house, what this shows is that your work environment is very routine and repetitive. Your everyday life is really involving meeting a lot of co-workers, employees, and dealing with them. And especially if you got to know that 6th house is the house of service. And 6th house is part of a house known as Artha houses. 2nd, 6th, and 10th house are the houses that make you work and the kind of work you do. And so 10th Lord in the 6th house definitely shows somebody who is in the service more than owning a business. Somebody who is providing a service to the community. Your reputation out in community is known as somebody who does a lot of non-profit work, gives a lot of charity, you know, who is always involved in abused animals and abused children, or taking care of handicapped people. You want to go to, you know, if you're in US on Thanksgiving Day, you're known as a person who goes to, the homeless shelter and give food to everybody. And your work environment is always about solving conflicts for other people. Your work environment will never be about just regular sales or just regular type in work. It'll always involve solving a certain conflict in your workplace. And it'll also be about working with non-profit organizations. No matter what kind of a non-profit organization is it, even as a lawyer, there are non-profit organizations for, let's say, abused children or women who have lawyers who fight for them, literally for nothing. So you can be in any field and you will be dedicated to those kind of things. And mostly it really shows your daily routine. What's your daily routine? So your work will be very repetitive, will be very routine. Also shows that your work can involve taking care of people who are sick, or showing and advising people how to live a better and healthy life. Why? Because 6th house represents diseases and health concerns. So your work environment can be involving taking care of people, taking care of people's health. Perhaps you're a lawyer who is a personal injury lawyer, who takes care of people who are sick and fights for them in the court. And as you know, 6th house is a house of dispute itself in a court, like a divorce. This is why you're always solving conflicts. Now, depending upon what planet is controlling your 10th house is sitting in the 6th house, we'll differentiate that. So let's discuss that. So let's say if Sun controls your 10th house, Sun goes into the 6th house, what this shows is that your everyday routine is about handling affairs of the government, because Sun is government and 10th house is government, 6th house is service. So your work environment might be dealing with things related to government and government service. Whether you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, you might be working for the government. Also shows that your everyday routine in work requires dealing with authority and also being a leader at work, because this is because Sun is exalted here. So you have the ability to be a great manager, but at the same time, your everyday work involves dealing with the higher authority, whether it's your CEO, CFO, general manager, or government itself, which is the highest of all kingships. So shows, and especially shows that your father was perhaps even in the government and government service. Your father was a very dedicated person who abided by the law, who did everything right, and through that you develop your personality and ego. That I want to be a leader out there, I want to serve the government, I want to fight for the righteous things. Let's say if moon controls your 10th house, goes into the 6th house, shows your everyday routine is about dealing with very mature women, or at the same time your everyday routine and work environment will be about nourishing and taking care of other people. Whether you're in hospitality, whether you're a human resource manager, but you'll be this motherly figure at work who is going to just serve everybody. So maybe you're an assistant in office, you're taking care of people's days, you're getting their lunches, you're getting there. You're janitor taking care of the school because that's what mother does. A mother cleans the kid's room. So you will do all the motherly activity in your everyday work. And your work can also involve mothering animals, taking care of animals, because this is also what it represents. You might be working in non-profit organizations with nuns. You might be working in non-profit organizations with perhaps abused women. And let's say if Mercury controls your 10th house, goes into the 6th house, shows your everyday work life and routine will be about communication and will be about solving other people's conflict through your communication skills, whether it's your speaking, verbal skills, or written skills, literary skills. You'll be out there trying to solve people's conflicts. And at the same time, Mercury can here get you in trouble in your workspace. Perhaps you have a loud mouth, big mouth, very harsh speech or tongue. And here, Mercury can get you trouble with your enemies. Mercury can get you trouble in your workplace or even community. You're perhaps known as somebody who just has a very bad mouth. But at the same time, Mercury is a natural money manager, natural manager itself. So in the 6th house, your everyday routine could be about dealing with money, taking care of money, accounting, finance, and dealing with the people's debt, solving people's debt. Your, let's say if Venus controls your 10th house, goes under the 6th house, shows your everyday routine could be about dealing with women, dealing with abused women. Your co-workers are women. You get into conflicts with your co-workers. Your work could be about solving conflicts of women themselves. Your everyday work requires you to be creative. Your everyday work environment makes you want to deal with everything that may be beautifying something. Perhaps you're somebody who goes out into people's wedding and decorates their thing. So it's the same repetitive work again. But definitely shows that you can get into trouble through women. Or you might bring trouble to women, depending upon how your personality is. Perhaps you go out there, get in trouble by, trying to hit on your coworkers, and you get in trouble. Because remember, 6th house is a Dushtana house of obstacles. So women can put you into obstacles, or you may put women in obstacles. So any kind of a criminal can be seen from this. Just because you have this doesn't mean you're a rapist, but you might have rapists with these kind of positions as well. Because they're putting women in trouble. They're putting women in a very harsh environment. Let's say if Mars controls your 10th house, goes into the 6th house, shows your everyday work life and routine life will be about protecting and serving other people. So whether you're a soldier, a policeman, it'll always be about protecting and serving other people, or you will be in a very competitive environment where you're arguing, where you're fighting for your work. Perhaps you're a lawyer, because Mars is a signification of law, lawyer, not law, lawyer, because lawyer is the one who fights. Jupiter is law. So your everyday work could be about solving other people's divorces and disputes, and you're out there fighting and competing. Competition will always be there. However, this is a great place for Mars. You have the ability to shut down your enemies, shut down your competition. And at the same time, you may get into power struggles with people at your work. Your co-workers may resent you because you're just this general type person. And at the same time, you're a fighter, so you can fight for nonprofit organizations, you can fight for small animals, you can become an animal activist, whether you're a doctor working for nonprofit animal organization, or you're fighting as a lawyer for the nonprofit organization. Anything is be done. You might be a security guard in front of a nonprofit organization that deals with animals. So you see how anything can come up with this kind of a work environment. Let's say if Jupiter controls your 10th house, goes into the 6th house. A great example of this would be the Lincoln Lawyer with Matthew McConaughey, where he's a lawyer, yet all his clients are very troubled people, very dangerous people, because Jupiter represents your intelligence. And what this shows is that your work environment depends upon your intelligence that you gained on the streets. intelligence that you gained with people who are in conflicts, who are trouble, who are perhaps your enemy. Your education is all about learning from the enemy and then using that in the work. You are this natural counselor, this advisor, this teacher at work. You train people at work. Your everyday work routine could be training people, especially with Mercury and Jupiter both, because they have this similar kind of concept, studying and education and, intelligence. Let's say if Saturn controls your 10th house, goes into the 6th house. So this is a great position for a government officer, government worker, because Saturn here loves to service people. Saturn represents originally government because it controls the 10th house with Capricorn, the original house. So Saturn here serves the government in a very routine, repetitive way. Your everyday work requires you to work long hours. But the good thing is here you suppress all your enemies. And in the 6th house, if you notice, Saturn looks at all the Dushtana houses, all the bad houses. It's in the 6th house, aspects the 8th house, aspects the 12th house, and aspects the 3rd house. All are very harsh houses, so Saturn suppresses them and makes you, gives you a quite a ease into, your career and your life itself. You don't have as many health problems, you don't have as many expenses, you become quite conservative, and you don't have to put a lot of effort into things because Saturn is suppressing that house as well. But you might be working with a lot of senior, older people, and you might be guiding other people, you might be judging other people who are very senior to you. You might be in an organization taking care of handicapped people, people who are very poor, very lonely. And at the same time, also, you can be working in an animal organization that might be dealing with handicapped animals. But it'll be a very routine, repetitive work because that's what Saturn is also. Saturn loves doing repetitive, routine work. He's like a machinist who just wants to keep pulling the lever every time. He'll do that all day long. So that's the kind of work environment you will run into. You might work with a lot of mechanical things. And with Mars as well, your work environment could be like being an engineer for the government. Okay, so guys, this was my analysis of 10th Lord in the 6th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your 10th Lord is placed and where your other Lord through houses are, for that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including all my books that have secrets of astrology. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.